Hi everybody, it's AG Marie. Long time no see, right? um, just a little heads up. I will be coming back with content very soon. I'm working on a few things for both platforms that I have, AG Marie TV as well as Candaris Pictures. But enough of that. Content is coming. I want to talk about Sinners today. So this is going to be a first impression of Sinners. It's not going to be a review. I feel like I have to watch the movie again in order to give it a proper review. And if I do review it, it's probably going to go on Letterboxd as opposed to a video. I'm going to jump right into it. I went to go see it yesterday, so that's Wednesday, not April, May, no, today's May 1st, April 30th. I went to go see it with my mom actually. And
Oh my God!
y'all, I hit this is like the third time today I have like banged my nail on something really hard. So I went to go see it with my mom, which at first I kind of didn't want to do because I knew there was some spicy content inside the movie, and I was like, do I really want to go see this with my mom? But um, but yeah, I want to go see with her, and we went late in the evening. It wasn't late at night. It was about six something. The theater wasn't packed, but it was full enough. It was a Wednesday, so it wasn't like crazy packed as it would be on the weekend. So, a good amount of people were there watching it. Um, yeah. So got my notes. Um, First impression after I've had about a day to really sit and think about it and digest it. I did like the movie. I actually loved the movie. While sitting in the movie in the theater, and then when I came out, the first thing that I said to my mom when we walked out, because we both walked out of the movie very quiet because it was so much. It wasn't like overstuffed with things, but it was very layered. There's a possibility that maybe in a few years from now, I might watch it again and be like, it might have had too much going on, but right now I don't necessarily feel that. So we were very quiet leaving the theater, and finally, the thing that first thing that I asked was, how did this get past Warner Brothers? That was the first thing. I was just like, how did this cut make it past Warner Brothers? I'm not complaining. I'm actually very excited and very proud that it did and very happy that it did. So just for context, I'm not going to talk too much about it or go too deep into it, the plot and everything. So the base of it is this is a story about two set of twins and their little cousin. Set of twins are played by Michael B. Jordan, Smoke and Stack, and their little cousin is played by a young man who I think this is his first film. His name is Miles something, but he plays the role of Sammy, aka Preacher Boy. So he plays Smoke and Stack's little cousin. So Smoke and Stack are they come back to Mississippi from Chicago after a few years, and they want to open up a joint. They're trying to find ways to make money. They're gangsters essentially. There's a point in the movie where they do mention that at some point they worked with Al Capone or did something with Al Capone. Um, and Preacher Boy, their little cousin, who I believe is an adult, not necessarily a teenager, but not necessarily like the same age as Smoke and Stack. Their little cousin plays guitar, and it's the story of like a prodigal son type of story. Dad is a preacher. Dad is very much into the Bible, and you gotta do everything this way, the Christian way, God's way, so on and so forth. And of course, he's being pulled to the secular world with blues music and guitar. And excellent singer, Miles, this young man, amazing singer, amazing musician. I look forward to hearing and seeing more of him. Um, so yeah, they create this juke joint, but then essentially the twins are coming back, and they have to also face a lot of things from the past. um, girlfriends in particular, like women, the stories of the things they have to face, the things that they left. And in the midst of that, a lot of things that they left have become vampires. So I'm going to leave that at that without necessarily spoiling the movie. So I was a little nervous about watching the movie because once the promotion started for it, it kind of kicked up for it. It was just like what, set in 1932 in Mississippi. So I immediately was just like, I'm not going to see that. I don't want to see anybody hanging from a tree. I don't want to see anybody getting beat up. I don't want to see, anything Jim Crow, Mississippi, Lynch. I'm like, I definitely don't want to see it in no theater. There are so many movies that I have not watched yet because I know a lot of that racial violence is in it, and I can't take it. Talking to my sister about it because my sister went to go see it. I think my sister has seen it twice, and my sister told me no, it's not like that. She said there are a few things. There's some racist things that happen, like things that are said. There is a point in which Delroy Lindo's character, I want to say Slim was his name, where he recalls something that happened. He does recall a lynching, so this is a warning for people who are sensitive to things like that. He does recall, was it his brother or a friend, somebody being lynched, and of course we don't see it. He's talking about it. He tells what happens, and they play the sounds in the background, and it's not overwhelming. It's not too much. It's more so the sound of a crowd as opposed to what's actually going on. So that's the only time where I kind of felt like uncomfortable. But what happens after that, and I'm gonna come back to that. I It's a part of what I took away from the movie and that what I really loved and appreciated about it. So that's essentially like the storyline. Um, and it gets deeper than that. There's a lot of symbolism in it. Um, there are a lot of symbolic things. Speaking of symbolism, this is one of those movies where I have seen some people say, "Oh, it's not as good as everybody making it out to be." I disagree with that, and then the response to that has been, "Oh, because it's so much symbolism, it's so deep, it just went over your head." So I usually hate when people do that. I hate when people kind of go against the grain, and just like it's not that good, and I hate when people are just like, "Oh, it's just so deep, you just aren't intelligent enough to get it." I I do believe that there is so much symbolism in it and so much going on. Like it's not hard to decipher, but it's just a lot of it. And a lot of it in a way where I don't think you have to be like, oh, if you didn't get it, you're not smart. I think if you don't get certain things or catch on to certain things, it's because there was so much going on. And again, it wasn't so much in a way that it was too much that I feel, but more like everything kind of came together. A lot of the elements were necessary. I'll put it that way. So there's a lot of symbolism, things that happen, and some things are actually like dead on the nose. The movie is essentially about racism, colonialism, how colonialism has affected black people, other people of color, in the United States, in the Western world, all over the world, but more so in that Western part of the world, or how it has affected people, and not even so. So the central races and ethnicities, I guess I should say, that we see in nationalities that we see in this movie are Black Americans, um, Native Americans or Indigenous people, particularly Choctaw people. Um, very prominent character is Irish, and there is a Chinese family, a Chinese community in this. So these particular groups are referenced and seen in the movie. Um, so there a lot of people have been talking about the music scene. So the music scene kind of encompasses all that this movie is symbolizing. It depicts the how music, how Black American music has transformed and changed over the years, and how our history has impacted the music that we make, how the music over the years, as much as it changes, how it is still rooted in honestly the blues and or spirituals more so, but also at the very root of it, the deeper root of it, West African, and then we kind of blend in other cultures, Chinese culture, Native American culture, yeah, so different parts of not basically non-white history, how it all like has transformed and changed, and how it's all interwoven and things like that. So that was a very like on the nose reference to Black American history and Black American music history. Um, so with that said, well, no, let me rewind a little bit. I also want to say I love this was a beautiful film to look at. This movie, it was so beautifully shot. It was a little dark. I know the complaint about a lot of movies and television shows coming out right now is that they are dark. Like why do we not have lighting in this in this movie? So there was not a lot of natural lighting or lack thereof in this movie, and it was so beautiful because it's set in Mississippi, Clarksdale, natural. We're in cotton fields, we're in regular fields, we're off the side of the road at a juke joint, we're in a small church, we're in a small house, um, where one of the lead characters, Annie, is basically a conjure woman, root worker. So there was no need for any type of like flash. It reminded me of but it was The Color Purple a little bit. The way that is basically the setting of The Color Purple and the setting of Sinners is a character in itself, and it all speaks for itself. The land speaks for itself. Um, yeah. So what I want to talk about, what I love, what I found when I came to the conclusion, or when a day passed and I got to sit and think about it and I got to like replay certain things in my head, what I took away from this movie as something that I really appreciated was the importance of sound and music. So, of course, this is obviously a movie where music plays a significant part in the story, but there were other sounds going on. So, there's music. Um, Preacher Boy is I don't want to spoil it, but the music, his character, that character, and the music that he plays and the music that he sings is very significant to the story. It's almost like it's a catalyst for the story, which I love. And but on top of that, there are other sounds. Of course, it's a horror movie or yeah, somewhat of a horror movie, vampire movie. So of course we have a few jump scares. We saw this in IMAX. I won't be doing that again. I'm already not like a big horror person. Like I don't like to intentionally be scared. Like I don't pay money to be intentionally scared. I don't go to hay rides. I don't go to the little mazes where people jump out at you at theme parks and all stuff. I don't ride roller coasters. I don't like putting myself in situations where I'm intentionally scaring myself. So I'm not a horror person movie. And then so when my mom was just like, "Oh, you want to go see it in IMAX?" I'm like, "Not really," but you know. And we were sitting like right under the speaker. Like the speaker was like right over us. So the jump scares for me a bit much. If I was watching it on my personal home television, it wouldn't bother me that much. But that sound was like I was like literally like doing like this like the whole movie, and I hate that. I hate it so much. There was a point where I felt like I was about to have a heart attack because I don't experience this often. Like I don't get scared. Like I don't hear whispers. Somebody's out in the woods and you hear whispers, and a very horror movie type of things. Um, Again, music plays different songs play such a big part in this. But here's the part that really stuck with me. So going back to when I referenced Delroy Lindo, um, so when he's talking about what happened to, gosh, I wish I could remember if it was his brother or his friend, somebody that he knew, a loved one, somebody that he played music with. They were about to go to jail, and I'm gonna spoil it, so I'm gonna say something happened with a friend, and it involved him being lynched after wrongfully accused of something, and then being lynched afterwards. So he's telling what happened, describe what happened, and they're playing the sounds of the crowd in the background. So of course, again, I was sitting right beside the speaker. So as he's telling the story, I'm just like, mm. But when that when he starts hearing the voices of the lynch mob, essentially, um, he stops himself and he starts humming blues music. And Delroy Lindo is an icon, a legend, does such a great job of portraying the person who is feeling pain but doesn't want to express it. He does that so well. I'm trying to think of another movie where I haven't seen The Five Bloods yet, but I've seen clips of his performance. He does it in that very well, where it's like he's in pain, he's hurting about something. Like his character is hurting and he's trying to get it out. And he does it so naturally. Like you can tell it's a performance, but it's still such a natural performance, if that makes sense. It happens in Malcolm X, where he when basically he's about to quote unquote kill Malcolm X because of what happened with the numbers or whatever. And like later on in the movie, he says, "You know, I wasn't gonna kill you, Red." And you can see that in that moment. You can see that in the way that he's speaking to Malcolm X or Denzel Washington as Malcolm X when he's like basically being like, "You better get on out here. I'm about to kill you." You can see that in his acting, where it's like he really does not mean this, and icon, really good at that. So he does this where he's telling the story and like he feels the pain coming and he starts humming and he doesn't sing, he just starts humming. And it's such a callback to how during that time and even now, how that pain we as a people translates uniquely, how we as a people human beings in general translate their pain into art and into music, but how we as a people have translated that, taken that pain and transformed it into, specifically in the Americas, in the United States, particularly in the South, like Mississippi, um, New Orleans, those deep South areas. We translate it into spiritual music, blues music specifically, or blues music later on. And he represents a character that we get a glimpse into the beginnings of that blues era, that 1920s, 1930s blues music, where unadulterated, where it's just like, I am in this pain in this moment and I'm going to make music about it. I'm just sitting in a car with somebody telling a story and I feel the pain and I immediately turn it into music to soothe and to ease myself. So I that particular moment really stuck with me. There were so many other musical moments in it, and I think that was the one that really kind of like kind of hit me, really, really like tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. And again, kind of referencing Preacher Boys, there's a moment with him as well, but that's like a catalyst for the film when he's singing. It kind of changes. It basically puts us into, I guess, Act Two. I guess you could say, um, almost into the like right before the climax. Like the moment with that particular character pushes us into basically where the movie turns completely dark. um, yeah, so that's like I said, this is not a review. This is my first impression. This is what stuck with me since I watched the movie last night. Um, Around this time, it's 7:20 right now, so around this time yesterday, I was in the movie theater. The movie was, I'm gonna be honest with you, the daggone previews are probably still playing, the trailer, and then the Regal Cinemas roller coaster intro was probably still on at this point. Good movie. I will not be watching it in the movie theater again. My mom wants to do that. I will not be doing that. That's not me. That's not my thing. I have had intentions of buying physical media again. Um, I haven't done it yet, but I want to, and I think this just might be the first movie that I buy on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, if it's out on any of those formats. So let me know what y'all thought about the movie. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it again. Again, not in the movie theater, but I would like to watch it again. Performances stand out for me was, like I said, Delroy Lindo was amazing as always. Michael B. Jordan was really good. I know there has been some chatter about his acting over the last few years. I haven't really been on the side of that when it comes to him and his acting. I can I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not it's the wrong video. It's not the video for this. But I can let's put it this way. I think this is the movie where I've never really seen Michael B. Jordan as a child actor. Like even though he started as a child, and I have seen his work as a child and as a teenager, but I don't view him in that way as I would say like Raven Simone or like a Judy Garland or a Shirley Temple or a what's the guy from Young and the Restless? Christoph St. John, but Richie from Family Matters. Like I don't view Michael Jordan B. Jordan that way, and I think it's probably because we're close in age, maybe. Like he's like a few years older than me. But I will say that I do think this is probably the first time I'm seeing Michael B. Jordan as this is a grown ass man. Like this is this is somebody who has lived life and has those experiences and has experienced life and can put it into the art. I think that's the thing with Michael B. Jordan, how people are saying like, oh, he's not that good of an actor. Um, I never really I could understand what people were saying, and I think it sometimes was in the delivery of his lines sometimes. More so in yeah, like I can see what people were seeing, but I didn't translate it in the same way as oh he can't act. I saw it as he's someone who probably needs to live and do a little bit more, not necessarily in work but in life, for us to finally see that shift. And I think he's kind of gotten over that hill a little bit. Like, okay, so this is a grown man now. This is an actor. This is somebody who knows what they're doing, who's more sure and confident in. I think he's always been confident in who Michael B. Jordan is, but or who Mike is, I guess, whatever his family calls him, like as a person, as himself. But yeah, yeah, I loved his performance. Performances because he played two people. I thought he did really good. I think this role. I think also part of it is this might the roles of Smoke and Stack probably were there were elements of himself in these characters. Um, I think that, again, I don't know this man, but this is my theory. This is me theorizing. I think probably some of his humor made it into the movie because a lot of it was natural. So there was his performance felt more natural than some of his previous performances, and not in that way where it's like, oh, he's not really acting, he's just playing himself. I just feel like he was probably a bit more at ease with this particular film, and I think probably also because his director was somebody he's worked with. This is the fifth time he's worked with Ryan Coogler, and yeah, who else? I the, everybody did a great job. I don't think there were any bad performances. There were no bad performances. Um, gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've forgotten a lot of the characters' names, so I'm sitting here trying to like remember, but and my phone is on the charger, so I can't go grab it to Google it. But the actress who played the Chinese Grace, Grace, the role of Grace, I really liked her performance. She pissed everybody off. Um, and that's my rule of thumb with a lot of performances. Like a lot of actors, I'm just like, if you piss me off, then I like you as an actor. Um, a lot of people were shocked by Haley Steinfeld. Um, I'm not. She's a little bit after my time. Like I know who she is. I mean she did good. She did good. But I don't have a like a meter for like, oh, so how was she before and how is she compared to now? I thought she did pretty good. The character of Annie, I want to say her name is Woonmi, and I'm familiar with her as well. I remember, I know she was in Lovecraft Country. That's a show that I have not watched, and I probably won't watch because again, I have a hard time watching movies and shows related to like that have some type of racial violence in them or that I deem to have that. I know she was in that, and I know she was. I've seen her in Loki. I didn't finish that series, um, so that's what I've seen her in. But of course, she played her well. Everybody was so natural. She played her role so naturally, and I appreciated the depiction of hoodoo in a non-sensationalized and demonized way. I'm glad that I feel like we're getting to a point where a lot of media is kind of showing that a little bit more. More so books and um, they're putting that stuff in TV like reality shows, but it's still kind of demonized. And in TV shows, they show a lot of like um, African American traditional religions and medicines and practices, hoodoo and things like that. But they show it, but they only show the dark sides of it, the dark parts, the darker practices. So it was nice to see that depiction of, and it's a part of our history. As much as people want to pretend like it's not, hoodoo is very much a part of Black American history, root work, and all of that. So I was very appreciative of that depiction through the character of Annie. So yeah, Love Sinners, great movie. I'm inspired. Ryan Coogler is an inspiration. I think Ryan Coogler is probably about a few years older than me as well. Probably about 10 years older than me. I'm not certain. Oh, one more thing. Another thing that happened with this movie when I was driving home, it made me realize how much I miss Chadwick Boseman. I don't know what kind of if he would have been cast in this movie, if he would have played a character in this movie. But I guess because we got Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan together, and it felt like somebody was missing, even though he wouldn't have necessarily had to have had a role here. Like, oh, it wasn't like oh, Chadwick Boseman should have been in this movie. But I feel like in a way that Sinners, I think Chadwick Boseman probably was a part, was helped blaze that trail. Like the trail was already blazed by a lot of people that have come before Chadwick Boseman, but he was a component of that trail that led to Sinners. He a lot like people opened the door, like Denzel opened the door for him, Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, a lot of people, and he was somebody else that opened that door for Ryan Coogler and I don't want to say Michael B. Jordan because they started in film and television about the same time, but I think with Black Panther and 42 and just the whole what the things that Chadwick Boseman did in the time that he was here, I think it kind of opened the gates for us to have a Sinners, and it just made me sad that he wasn't here to see it. Um, but I'm not gonna get to that. I'm not gonna get my feelings tonight. But y'all go see Sinners while it's still in theaters. Um, I guess seeing in IMAX. I don't think you have to, but y'all, like I said, I'm not a horror movie person. I was jumping out my seat half the time, so I'm fully just like, don't go see it in IMAX. But if you're, however you, just go see it. Just go see it and support. And yeah, um, thank y'all for watching this video. I will see y'all soon with some more content.